Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device worldwide at David G. Evans 1. That's at David G. Evans 1, the number one. So glad you could join us once again. We are all about discussing current events, faith, religion, politics, culture, all from a kingdom perspective, all from a Bible-based perspective. So this is a Christian talk show. We have some of the most intelligent callers, critically thinking callers in the world, and we're so glad that because of you, On Point is a success in this ministry, in this mission that God has given us to come into your homes, your jobs, your automobiles, your space every Saturday morning at this time. So why don't you tag a couple people, inbox, text a few people, send them a message, let them know On Point's on, and ask them to join the conversation this morning as we attempt to talk about those things that are not only relevant to you but important to you in the context of impacting your life, your way of thinking, your way of living. But remember, always from a kingdom of God perspective. Our phone numbers are 1-866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267. That's 866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. My world famous co-host is here. Reverend Nicholas A. Smith has joined us once again. How you doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Doing all right, man. Yeah, just trying to keep living and keep doing what God's telling us to do.
Yeah. And get past these allergies, man.
Man, it's
my head.
Man,
My head.
I was thinking I was all right until about a half an hour ago, and all of a sudden the headache started creeping up on me again.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are complaining right now.
Yeah.
2 days ago was the first day I actually saw the pollen on my car. Before that, I knew allergies were intense, but my allergies were reacting intensely. But I saw the green film 2 days ago,
Yep.
and it's still there.
Yeah. One place they knocked out a tree.
Yeah.
As soon as the tree went down, a huge puff of green just.
Oh no!
I never realized how much was actually.
Oh yeah!
In the tree. I mean, it looked like
Smoke.
like smoke. Like
Yeah.
it was huge.
And the wind takes it and just takes it away.
Just like
Sneezing about to happen.
yes.
I make
But
the
oh well.
mistake of I can't. Of course, I don't drive with my windows down, and I make the mistake occasionally of not keeping an eye on the vent,
Yeah.
because if you don't keep it closed, it's coming in your car.
Yep. Tuesday, I made the mistake. I forgot to turn my ceiling fan off before I went to sleep.
Oh man!
Right over top of my head. I've been
Oh.
jacked up since Wednesday.
That's a sign of age, brother.
I was like, I forgot. I woke up. I was like, no.
Didn't bother you when you were like 16,
Oh,
17,
no,
did
man,
it?
you had that
Nah,
fan
it's
on.
Sign of age, stop.
Especially when you ain't got no money for air conditioning back in the day, and you got the fan spraying around.
Yeah, man. Keep that fan on you all night long. Now, if I had a fan, man, I'd wake up with so many aches and pains,
Yeah.
more than I have now. So
But
it's just, it's good to be alive.
it's good to
and
be. I was about to say, it's good to be on this side.
Give us a call today as we have our conversation with you, 866-743-8267. We welcome our callers from Texas and Florida and the Carolinas and California and Virginia, Washington, D.C., New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Washington State. You name it, people call us. And we occasionally get a call from overseas, Africa, France. Those people listen to us and can call and be a part of this great conversation today. Presidential address was this week.
Yep. I think it was Tuesday. I think it was.
Uncle Tim Scott was on right after. I get you had two things I have a problem with, and I have African American friends who are Republicans, staunch Republicans. The thing that I respect about them is they will not allow that platform to cause them to say something that is obviously not the truth concerning who they are.
Yeah.
And one of the things I don't respect about Scott is that he says things on one hand as though he understands, on the other hand, as though he's disconnected,
Yep.
and as though the people that he represents are not going through the troubles that he's saying are not happening.
Right. How do you go through a list of your racial experience in America, about how you experienced it, and then say it's not a racist country? How do you?
It made him look so silly.
It's like, really?
You know, and I've got friends that are Republicans, staunch Republicans, some of them very well known, and when they get to this part about the culture and the things that people of ethnicity go through, they have a difficult conversation with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it was almost like when I was serving the state, and the guy happens to be a friend of mine now. He came to see me because he was running for office, and he tried to tell me that there was no profile.
Yeah.
And I looked him right in his face. I said, "Do not say that to me, and do not go into a minority community and say there's no racial profile in New Jersey, which we were famous for." You know, so he was taken aback. He expected to, because I was conversational and because we were building a relationship, he was under the impression that I was going to be different in this way, that I would not acknowledge the problem that was publicized in New Jersey, but that I had experienced in New Jersey. So I was supposed to say it just didn't happen. But that has happened to me a lot in the last 4 years with contemporaries of ours who thought that I agreed with a lot of what was being put forth as policy or just behavior from our politicians in Washington. And I don't know. I don't understand it. Tim Scott did not have to disown who he was and be blatantly dishonest a couple times about things to be a part of the Republican Party.
Absolutely. They feel so beholden to, especially he's in South Carolina, very conservative state.
Okay.
He feels beholden. But this is the thing I don't understand.
Okay.
They look at, in your case, you think, well, you're different.
Okay.
They think you're not like, because they don't associate you being a businessman, a leader, conservative for the most part, but at the same time having these quote unquote liberal ideas.
Yeah.
So the same thing, Barack Obama, he's different than other people.
Right.
You know, and Tim Scott, I want to tell sometimes to some of these folks, no matter how different you are, you still gonna be. I was gonna say the other word, a black man. To some of them.
Yeah. And the thing is, how much respect can you get when someone who's looking at you sees you're black, and then you say certain things just don't happen to black people?
Absolutely.
How much? So in Tim Scott's case, do you think Lindsey Graham really respects him?
Oh, probably not. No.
When Lindsey has been living in South Carolina his whole life, knows what it's all about down there, and then you get Tim come along and say there's no racism?
I mean, there's a huge amount, just his state alone.
Well, I'm saying, how much respect can Graham have for him?
But I don't think that, to me, there's no respect there if you see, again, this person is one of those, you're not like everybody else type things. You fit into our norm. But
until you ask me that
question. But here's the problem that I have. Why can't a black man, black woman be articulate, strong business owner, have money, and still be able to hold to some ideas of helping
articulate the struggle of people that they are a part of?
Right.
Because what Tim does is give the impression that he's not a part of the problem that the people that he's representing are having.
Yep. It's like you made it. Out of your own hard work, your own effort, and
no. People, all human individuals have to have someone to blaze a trail for them.
Absolutely.
Someone that suffered, so you wouldn't have to suffer so much. So it just, I was offended by I wasn't offended by the fact that he's a Republican. That's his right. I was offended by the fact that he was trying to tell a nation that what was just said doesn't exist.
Right. After you list all your stuff. But I don't know if he was afraid to not get elected because he needs that vote in South Carolina, the whole Trump thing,
Many politicians sell their integrity for their seats.
And I think they said he's the only black man in the Senate, I think.
On the Republican side?
So he's trying to hold on to that power.
But how do you give up? I remember, I told you this years ago. I remember when I was working at one of the top banks in Philadelphia, and we were having a conversation. the group of us were having a conversation, men and women, about equality on the job. So one of the young ladies, Barbara Hoswell, brought up to us at the time that, she was not sure about the racial aspect that I brought up in the conversation. And I came back with something, very calm. I said, I'm not sure how you all can sit here and say that when in order to fit into this environment, you've compromised your femininity.
Mm-hmm.
I said, you're wearing your hair severe, you're minimally made up, your clothing does not really reveal that you're females at all.
Yep.
I mean, I went right down the list with all of them sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
I said, so you're giving up who you are to gain this place.
Yep.
And I'm not saying you need to come in dressing provocatively. I said, but you're wearing severe things to fit into this male environment.
Yeah.
And man, the next day, them girls put their pumps back on and
Yeah.
I'm saying, okay, get the money, but don't give up your identity.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people feel like in order to succeed and win, you have to assimilate into.
And it's easier to do that.
Yeah, it is.
It is easier to do that. But you lose part of yourself in the process. I always chose to maintain my dignity and my integrity
Yeah.
and still strive for the corporate seat.
Absolutely.
And it was harder.
Yeah.
Because there were certain things, and I established in the corporate environments that I was in that there were certain lines you are not going to cross.
Yeah.
I was not you were not going to ask me if it was okay for you to call me the N-word
Yep.
when we're in a conversation.
Yeah.
Why would you ask me that?
Mm-hmm.
And why do you need to ask me that
Yep.
if we're working together? And why do you need to say that if we're working together?
Mm-hmm. Exposing the race. Yeah.
So it's very subtle.
Yeah.
Because I said, man, I never asked you if I could call you something disrespectful.
Yeah. Yep.
But in order for us to have a relationship, you got to be able to say that around
I gotta
me.
be able to kick you behind and everything.
Which tells me you're saying it at other times also.
That was the same thing. Absolutely. But you're right. People give up a lot just for money and power.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, there has to be some guilt at the end of that, because the money doesn't fix all your issues. It doesn't fix all your problems. You still walk around knowing that you've compromised yourself.
Well, I look at it this way, biblically. From God's point of view, if money can fix it, it's not a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because money's an easy thing for God. That's not a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder sometimes, Pastor Nick, if we might as well get real about this. In the arena that we function in, there are certain circles that I am not welcome in because I will not compromise certain things.
Yeah.
There will be certain circles that you're not going to be welcome in because you will not compromise certain things.
Mm-hmm.
It took me almost 15, maybe almost 18 years to realize that one of the reasons I wasn't getting invitations to certain places is because I wasn't fitting into the realms. But also, it was told to me that I wasn't invited to things because people couldn't take credit for what God had done here.
Okay.
And like to feel like they have, kind of molded you themselves.
Right.
I just feel as though that I wasn't going to compromise who I was. And, it's not like I'm the most untraveled preacher, but there are a whole host of opportunities that I did not get because I did not fit in.
Right.
And I'm not talking about supposition. I'm talking about what I was told, by people in those circles.
Yeah.
You want to talk Bible. You want to talk church. You want to talk, we want to talk rings and cars and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I ain't got no interest in that.
Yeah.
I like nice things. But that's not what I don't get around people with more experience than me to talk about what kind of car you drive.
Right. Yeah. No.
Man, share some of that wisdom.
Absolutely.
I need some of that experience. Tell me how you did X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder.
Okay.
Now, pure speculation.
Okay.
You had success before you started pastoring.
Yes.
So you had house,
yes,
car,
yes,
your
yes,
own business,
yes,
making
yes,
good money.
Yes.
A lot of pastors who didn't have money,
Didn't have anything.
now they finally got it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing they can gloat on, the only
Yep.
thing they can hang on.
Yep.
It's like you've been there before, they haven't.
Yep.
And they right now they haven't gotten used to I don't have to flaunt this because I'm here.
I kind of like it to Solomon's dream. Before he ever became a king, God gave him this dream or vision as a king. So when he became a king, it wasn't like the first time he'd been in the end zone. I don't know, man. I think a lot of times that when I look at what God is able to do, and try to look back and see, okay, what was he doing at this particular juncture in life? The Bible does say that you shouldn't get in this thing as a novice. Somebody unlearned, inexperienced. And perhaps the focus on what you've gained is the thing that messes a novice mindset up.
That's what he says, It pierces them through, as they say.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at guys like Bill Winston talked about. He was successful in business before he started pastoring.
Absolutely.
And he's got this demeanor about him, calm. You would never, not flashy.
Because you don't have to flash that about. If ministry is your only claim to fame in life, you will have a greater struggle trying not to let ministry create a stronghold called pride.
Absolutely. That's true, because that's the only way they can get to the life they have. Versus y'all, if got speculation here, hypothetically, you can always
could do something else
and do something else.
Could do something else.
That's all.
Amazing. 1-866-743-8267 1-866-743-8267. Kind of thank you for your patience this morning. That we've been kind of not rambling but conversing about something that we hope parts of the conversation have spurred some curiosity on your part. 866-743-8267 866-743-8267. I think some of the things that I learned in ministry early on, I didn't expect. Like, I didn't expect to be told that, because we wanted to talk ministry and biblical things, that was not of interest to people that were in. But I'm thinking, you're surrounded by people that's got experience and have done it well. Come on, let's talk about it. May not be the conversation. And I think, when was it? Was it Power of God? When Cynthia James got up, and she said, "I have something I need to tell you about your pastor." The whole place went quiet because I think they thought some dirt was coming. She said, "You need to know when he walks in the room straightens up." And I didn't know she noticed, and I didn't know she'd heard it. But she had to hear that because I'd never been in a private setting with her. Okay. That's what was revelational to me. So some conversation was had that this Evans guy is kind of square. I don't know, man.
I mean, we're unpacking it now. To me, it's a few things. It's first, I think we are so quick, just because somebody can preach, we try to make them a pastor.
True. And they're not. No.
So they're great road preachers, but if you go to their church, it doesn't match.
They're not pastors. Most of them are not pastors.
They're not pastors.
In many cases, their staffs are pastoring the churches.
Yep.
So the hands-on approach that we have here, we thought it was common. But it's not common.
So it's that part. So the claim to fame is preaching. And the other thing is those who are working something, they're afraid to share, of course. Because they don't want you to model the same success.
Right. Because it's like there's this shelf.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this illustration before. And on this shelf, there's only room for a few vases. And so they're fighting to keep a place. When, with God, I believe, there is no restricted space.
No. Yep. And the cool thing about social media now, that box is being exploded.
You think so?
Yes. Because most people are getting their content from online.
Okay.
Most people our age, my age, we don't listen to the radio like that.
Okay.
We listen to YouTube, Spotify, podcasts, stuff on our phone.
Okay.
So now the shelf of, your exposure, you have more ways to expose yourself now.
But isn't it one of the things that's unfortunate about social media is that you can present an image that has no reality behind it.
Now that part is true. Yes. That part is true.
So what I'm seeing online is a lot of presentation, but not nearly as much content.
Yes. And those people eventually get exposed.
Okay.
And then those who have a long-lasting thing build
Okay.
a nice following.
Okay.
There are people out there like who are in Hollywood.
Yeah.
They can't make it into Hollywood. They just can't break through that
Yeah.
the nose.
Yeah.
So now they're creating their own platforms, and they got millions of people following them online.
Okay.
And actually helping them build their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I'm saying. Social media gives you that outlet now.
So you wouldn't be implying that social media has allowed some of us in this vocation to self-idolize?
Yes.
Okay, so we're building an idol, which means we're actually empire building, and we call it kingdom building.
Yes. Depends on your motive. Yes.
Yes, depending on your motive.
Yeah.
Let's get on the phone here. We got Keefe from New Jersey. We've got Tom from Florida, and we've got Lucy from Alden. Okay, let's go to Keefe. Hey, Keefe, how you doing?
All right, how are you?
Doing all right, man. Welcome to On Point once again.
Yes, thank you. First of all, I'd just like to say your On Point TV show, radio show broadcast is excellent. I listen to it every Saturday morning, and especially you, passionate with the journey. It's been a blessing, and
Thanks,
I wish you both luck on both shows.
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
My comment is this. I've been not listening to the news, but some things that just bother me, like what the president is doing and what he's doing about what we have surrounded us. And
Keefe,
Keefe,
just a minute. You didn't make your point there.
Oh, I'm sorry. My point is this: what is okay? Hold on, let me think. Okay, what can we do? What can the president do about what we're falling down on? And how can
such as
I'm sorry.
Such as.
Hold on. I think I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I asked you. You said falling down on, and I said such as.
Oh, so some falling. See, with these.
You're listening.
With,
You're listening to
stimulus check.
You're listening to yourself. Turn the device down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay.
I just turned another year older. I'm just trying to get my thoughts together. I do
Okay.
apologize.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. What I was saying is, what can the president do to bring us up out of the hole? And how can, they say, okay, I uphold the Constitution of the United States, when some things that he does are good, like he's bringing us out with the stimulus checks, or with this, trying to get our troops back by September. Do you think he can hold up his part of the bargain and say that I will do this, I will do that, but otherwise he's contradicting himself with some things that he's saying in his press, in his the address that he did this week, which I did not watch.
You didn't watch the address?
No, I did not. I did not get a chance to this week.
How are you able to critique it then?
Well, I get updates on my news feed on my phone.
Okay. This is what you need to do. You need to take the time to listen to parts of it. You won't be able to listen to it all at once, but listen to it in its entirety. It's almost as though I've known you a long time, so it's almost as though you are taking the mirage that we dealt with for the last 4 years and applying it to this particular individual who's only been in office 100 days.
Yes.
Right. So I think what you always want to do is be informed before you form the opinion. And the best way, it's like when you want to know what God says, you read your Bible, you listen to the person God has placed into your life to teach you the Bible, so you can get some clarity. So I would go back and listen to the address. And the only thing that's going to hold him up, the only thing that held President Obama up, is opposing politicians who are not concerned about people. They just want to get in the way of what another person is legislating. I'll give you an example, then I'll let you go. When we were a very young church, as we always have, we've always had a lot of children.
Yeah.
And at
yes,
at the old church, we did not have a nursery. I don't know if you were there then, but that was like the first 2 years we didn't have a nursery. And
I do remember.
I actually had a group of people that opposed us turning a room into a nursery.
Yes.
And what the Lord taught me in that transaction was this: if the kids know it's a good idea, if you've got enough children around to know it's a good idea, if you've got parents that are saying it's a good idea, but you've got people saying it's not a good idea for us to have a nursery so the kids can have a place to be while they're in service, blah, 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 then it has nothing to do with the idea. It has everything to do with the person that's bringing the idea to the table.
Correct.
So people in our time period, now let's switch up to now, politicians are rejecting ideas not because they're not good, but because of who's bringing them to the table.
Right. Understandable.
So you have very good legislation that politicians bring to the table, and I'm saying all politicians can bring to the table, but other politicians oppose it because it was not their idea.
Right.
So that's what presidents are up against.
Okay.
Now, in some cases, we got presidents that are just wacky, so their ideas are wacky. So, the ideas are not good because they hurt people instead of helping people. Or you can't focus on a small percentage of people at the expense of the rest of the nation. Those types of policies should not be passed.
Right.
So yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was going to say, let me ask you this question. Out of the last few presidents that we've had, who do you think did the best job for America?
I think it's difficult to. I think the priority at the time dictates who did the best job at the time. So we have a lot of people that criticize healthcare. They called in and criticized healthcare until they needed it, and then they had the strength to call back and say, I was wrong, I lost my job, I got Obamacare, and it was great. So there are always critical needs at the time. Right now, we're dealing with a couple things. We're dealing with the problem of environment. We're dealing with the problem of infrastructure. We're dealing with primarily the problem with COVID and what it has impacted. So there are going to be multiple legislations need to correct the issues under this administration.
Right.
But what you're going to find is that even though the problems are known, there will be some people that oppose the solutions simply because of the people that are bringing the idea to the table.
Okay, I understand your point.
Yeah. I got to let you go, man.
All right.
Thank you for calling us again. Bye-bye.
No problem. Bye-bye.
866-743-8267. This is On Point, the number one Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. We're going to Tom, and then we're going to Lucy. Good morning, Tom. How you doing?
Good morning. How you guys doing?
Morning.
We're doing all right.
You at home this morning when you talk about black Republicans. My uncle was appointed by George W. to the bench,
Okay.
and the family's from South Carolina. I'm telling you, we don't talk politics because it becomes ugly because he really believes
Yeah.
a lot of the hype.
Yeah.
But on the other end of that, there are black Republicans that I think stand up. Colin Powell.
Yep.
Some people may not like Condoleezza Rice, but she will tell you she got into school because of affirmative action and became president of a college because of that.
Yep.
So there are people who know how to handle it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Like, I don't think Supreme Court Justice Thomas knows how to handle it.
Not at all.
He talks about pulling up by bootstraps. He didn't it's been so long, he didn't realize he didn't have boots on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We're always striving forward because we're in the glory of someone else's accomplishment.
Yep.
It's like I said, it's hard to fathom. Like I said, and coming from South Carolina, my family and my uncle, they were there when Jim Crow was happening,
Mm-hmm.
and it just amazes me that none of that stuff should affect you. And my parents moved out of Carolinas because of that.
Yeah. My family, my family is originally from down south, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, and so we've got some real vivid tales, and I have some vivid experiences about the reality of it. That I don't understand why people expect folk that have been discriminated against to forget their reality. I think the problem is racism does not like to be confronted. It's an uncomfortable conversation for a lot of people.
Yeah, and it's more uncomfortable, I believe, for Caucasians because they don't have to deal with it. I had an argument once with a young lady, and I said, a lot of African Americans know you all better than you know us. And she goes, why would you say that? I said, because the difference is you don't have to deal with us if you don't want to, but we have to deal with you. If I go to get a bank loan, I'm going to probably deal with you. If I'm going somewhere, I'm going to deal with you. You can avoid dealing with me. To enhance, I need to know who you are.
I was in a professional environment and in banking, and I confronted, and I was vice president at that time, I think. AVP or VP, one of the two, had a lot of responsibility, and I confronted the red line reality in the bank's lending process. And I saw the unfairness, and I thought I needed to confront it. But I did it from the point of, okay, I'm producing all this volume, which gives me the voice to confront the problem. But I saw how many of my contemporaries around the country were unafraid to do that. I don't know whether they lacked, I had God with me, of course, but I don't know whether they lacked the courage to say, look, I'm sitting here in a room with you, and you've just approved a guy that just came out of bankruptcy for X. This guy, you want to collateralize his children, and you still don't want to give him the money. Tell me what the difference is. And then I said, this guy lives in this city, this guy lives in this city. I said, they're 4 minutes apart. Right. But you've decided that anybody over that line is not going to get any money from us. I said, it's wrong.
Right. Yeah.
Man, it was hot in that boardroom.
Sure
It was hot that day. But but he's right. You don't have to deal with certain elements, but then, there are some elements you have to deal with them all the time.
Right. Yep. Yeah.
And Bishop, sometimes it's hard. I never made it to the levels you ever had, but I've been in boardrooms at a major corporation, and it's hard not to sell your soul. What I mean is, paycheck. I'm not going to. It took me a long time to open my mouth about anything.
I understand.
You're there. I know that I was used for a couple of things.
I understand. I think sometimes just the joy at gaining the seat can put a muzzle on you if you're not intentional about it. Yeah. And I've seen that happen.
Tell you didn't.
Yeah. I listened a lot when I first am placed on a board or a commission, because I want to see what the flow is. But I'm not going to ever let the wrong thing happen, especially as it relates to certain segments of people. And just sit there, finally made it to the table, and then say nothing?
Yeah.
Bishop, I'm going to get off in a second, but when I was with this corporation, we used to meet once a month with a VP. And we had a new black manager come in who was actually a level above me.
Okay.
And I saw him about an hour before this meeting. And I said, yo, you got this, you got that, you got this? He's like, what do I need that? I had to run this guy back to the office because his white counterparts at his level didn't tell him, if you go in there without this information, he's going to hand your aid to you.
It's a blood sport at these corporations, man. Yeah. It's a blood sport.
People understand.
Yeah, it's a blood sport.
Rule
Especially if they don't agree with your hire and you don't have the relationships. Yeah. They'll sabotage you by not informing you.
Oh, yeah.
I got to let you go, man.
Hey, you guys have a great day.
Talk to you now.
See you, man.
We got Tom Tom, we just finished talking to. We're going to Lucy, Alden, Pennsylvania. Is that? I don't have my glasses on. Lucy, is that you?
It is.
Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm fine, Bishop. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome to On Point. Good to hear your voice, girl.
First of all, I want to thank you and Pastor Nick for all you've been doing during this pandemic. You have been feeding your sheep, fishing really well, taking care of us, and we really appreciate all the effort and all the love that you've displayed to us.
Thank you. Thank you, Lucy.
But my question has to do with the first part of the conversation that we had, or that you had at the top of the show regarding preachers and pastors. And I know you always say it matters where you go to church.
Mm-hmm.
So on that vein, could you elaborate on whether a seminary training is required, or what type of training should be, I guess, attended to make sure that the congregants are fed the way they need to be fed, or is that just a personal thing?
Well, I think you, and you're asking the right people this question this morning. I am pro-education. Pastor Nick, I believe, is matriculating through seminary training right now, right?
Institute first.
Institute
I'm
training.
still debating.
Yeah, he's on his way. He's on his way. I have no seminary at all, and I don't say that bragging. I just had to work and take care of my responsibilities, so I could not take off and go to school. So, what has happened and what can happen in the body of Christ is this: you can have people that God has called, who are committed to learning His Word, who have been given the spiritual gifts to teach it, understand it, relate with it, and apply it. That does not necessarily have to come from a seminary. And once again, I have to preface this: I'm not anti-seminary. What I am is this: I don't believe seminary necessarily teaches you ministry. There's the difference. And some people, I know guys that are very, very heavy seminarily trained and not good at pastoring at all. And then I know some guys that are not schooled, and they're not good preachers either. So I think it's an individual thing. I remember doing a baccalaureate at Lincoln. Were you with me that day?
No, I'm usually here.
Okay.
I can't be here yet.
Okay. So I did a baccalaureate at Lincoln University, which is my alma mater, and it was the first time in like 50 years they'd had a preacher. They'd had preachers, but not preacher. Okay. We took our worship team with us, Beth Winslow and Tracy. And,
Kim and all that.
Kim. Yeah. Took Journey up there with us.
That's right. Yep.
So this is a baccalaureate service, which is supposed to be, 45, 60 minutes of, we're going to have this church service because it's a part of what we do. I think 35 or 40 people got saved. Spirit of God went flowing through the room. And then afterwards, a very famous seminarian, internationally known preacher, walked up to me and said, "Can I ask you a question?" They said, "How did you do that without seminary?" And I told him I used my Bible.
Right, okay.
Seminary don't teach you people. They don't teach you that stuff.
Nah, you can get a degree in a subject. It does not necessarily get you a degree in people. Now, I've been blessed to know some people that are trained and good at people at the same time. Guys like Matthew Watley and his dad, trained, seminarily trained, and my training is on the job.
Well, you do a very good job.
I never thought that I would be having pastor schools for the last 20 years. But God has given it to us that way. So I think God can use both extremes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Take care. God bless you both. And I look forward to seeing you when God says so.
Absolutely.
Right, take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
866-743-8267, 866-743-8267. That's 866-743-8267, 866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. This is On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. Live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Now, we talk about politics, we talk about religion, we talk about sports, we talk about current events, faith, We do all that. We got Danny from Florida. Hey, Danny, how you doing?
Good morning, Bishop, Pastor Nick, staff. How you all doing this morning?
We hanging, man. How's things in Florida?
It's things are coming to fruition. Things that I predicted that was going to happen.
Okay.
It is happening, and the wheels are in motion. To say that as something that I just have to say is that beginning of the program, something was mentioned about you, and I just want to just go ahead and say it. Is that when I first time I ever heard you or saw you, I felt something that was moving, and I said, well, I've never heard anyone speak like this before. It was so intense and it was so inviting that I had to go and see for myself to see if it was for real.
Okay.
And at that time, my wife and myself, we went and we saw you. Not only that, we just didn't get up and leave. I told my wife, I've got to talk to him. I've got to meet him. And when I met you, I mean, the feeling that I had, everything was for real. There was no falseness. You didn't take the attitude that you were bigger, better, or more knowledgeable than anything else. And the thing that I like about you is that my grandmother used to always say, I like a preacher that will go ahead and make it plain.
Okay.
And you do that.
Okay.
You make it so plain, and it makes so much sense, and it's a lot of thought and preparation into what you do and what you say. And that's the big difference. And you don't mind sharing that knowledge, that experience with other people. And you don't mind helping other people that want to go and do ministry. And I just want to compliment you for real.
I appreciate that, man. That
And
that
I
was
mean,
that was
that-
in Orlando that we first met, right? Person
Yeah.
to person at
Yeah.
Mark Sharona's church.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the situation behind that, and I'll hurry up, is that the time that we went, we had to go back up to our room and come back downstairs. When we were downstairs, we met Gary.
Oh wow.
We didn't know him. We didn't know who Gary was.
Yeah.
But we had to go back upstairs. But guess what happened when we had to come back down?
What
Who
happened?
was on the elevator? Bishop. That's God.
Yeah, man. I remember those days, man. That
Yeah,
was
yeah.
that was a good meeting at Mark's church.
Yes. And I just want to keep up the good work. That's what I want to compliment you on. But the other thing is, I don't know if you've been paying attention to what's happening as far as what's happening in Florida. That law that I was telling you about.
Oh man.
That they were slipping in, just like Georgia. They have done it.
Did they do it?
They did it. He's getting ready to sign the bill. Okay, it's almost identical to the Georgia law. And this past week, they had the vice president to the vice president on national TV on Fox, and they're starting to push him.
Oh no. No.
Yes.
You know
Yes.
what they're gonna do? They're gonna force people to get on buses to go to the poll. You watch what I
can't.
tell you.
Yeah, you can't give anyone water in.
They're
in
gonna
line.
they're gonna bring
Or
they're gonna
someone
bring
who's
they're gonna
an
bring
elderly
they're gonna
person,
bring their
they
own
can't get
water.
out of line to
They
go
go-
to the restroom.
They're gonna bring their own water, and they're gonna bus them to the polls. You watch what I'm telling you.
And they still have to, if there's people in line after the time, like
Has to stay open.
They have to stay open. So if they need to go to the bathroom, they gonna come right back, and they can't close the doors. So either way,
It's not gonna work for them.
them folk gonna stay in line till 11 p.m.
It's not gonna work for them. The worst thing you can do is tell a person what they can't do. That incites people to get up and try to do it.
Yep.
And then one more thing, I just want to thank you for your help with. Had a situation where you gave some advice as to the situation with the young people.
Yes.
About getting jobs and things like that. It's working, Bishop. And
Wonderful.
then what I did is ask them, "What do you want to do?"
Yeah. What problem do you
And
want to
everything
solve?
started falling in place from there.
Yeah. What problem do you want to solve?
Yes.
Hey, Danny,
Yes.
before you go, I'm sorry. Will you finish the last
go
point?
ahead. Go ahead, man.
Did you hear about
no,
that?
go ahead.
Did you hear about that school in Miami where they're telling their teachers, private school,
Okay.
that if they get vaccinated, they won't let them come back to school to teach until next year.
Why?
Yes.
They're sending letters out telling the teachers don't get vaccinated
Why?
with unsupporting evidence.
That's stupid.
It's
and
Florida.
They forced our school
Yep.
superintendent to resign
Why?
because of the fact that DeSantis, he said that he presented himself with, or he was testifying, and he said something that was not true, where he had interviewed or talked to someone that he wasn't supposed to talk to.
DeSantis accused someone of not telling the truth?
Yes, yes. I know.
Come on, Dan. DeSantis did that.
And what's behind that is that our superintendent, he did not go along with the things that they were trying to do. When he said that, number one is that you need to go ahead and bring the kids back to school. He said, well, I don't see any evidence where we need to bring them back. He would resist anything. So then what they would do, they would say, well, we're going to keep money from you. Your district will not get any money, and things like that. So it was a struggle for him. I think that the gentleman just,
Wow.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me, and I've been saying this a lot. I hate to be redundant about things, but when was it ever more evident that our politicians were more concerned with money than they were with people's safety?
Mm-hmm.
yes.
This gun thing, this pandemic thing, this police brutality thing, I mean, just they said some infinitesimal amount of policemen went to court over these brutality things with tape.
Yep. I mean, if you have the police have, a white supremacy group,
Yeah.
the infiltrate. We've
Yeah.
always been there talking
Yeah.
about infiltrate
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And then the court system too.
Yeah.
This is why I actually had a discussion with a black man that denied that there was systemic and systematic racism in the country, and literally had to have a conversation.
Which
with
one
him.
did he live in?
Thank you. And I'm like,
Was he from here?
he lives in, I think, Ohio. I'm like, bro.
Ohio?
Yes, thank you. I'm like, bro, look at our prison system alone. I mean, the court system by itself.
No. What about his own personal experience?
I know. I know.
You can't. There's some things that I'll never forget, Danny.
Yeah.
Never forget. I can still see the sign over the restroom in Virginia that said colored. I can still see the signs over the water fountains that said colored.
Yep.
I can still see them in my head.
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
yes.
And even at that age, when I experienced that, I didn't fully comprehend.
Yep.
This is okay. I got to drink over here. And I almost went in the white bathroom, and my uncle yelled to me, "No, Greg, go to that one over there." And then I looked up and saw, colored over the door. So I'm like, how those pictures don't go away.
They don't. And his thought was, well, racist people exist, and they're isolated incidences, but the structure itself.
Oh no, he's was he Tim Scott? Come on, man.
But you're right. People like you who lived through Jim Crow, and figure it. You're 69 years old. You figure your great grandparents are probably either born into slavery or
just getting out.
Yes, sir. So that's literally 3 generations,
Look.
if I'm correct. Yeah, 1, 2.
Ku Klux Klan on the front yard
Like, we're not that far behind y'all.
with crosses and hoods.
I'm like, come on.
That's part of my family legacy.
Yeah, like, the oldest woman in South Carolina died, I think, last week. She was 116 years old.
Okay, so she saw some stuff.
So she saw some stuff. Her parents are probably slaves, or like, come on, y'all. Like,
So slavery wasn't part of the system,
well,
and the electoral vote was not built on
they don't think
the chattel asset called slaves.
They don't claim that. No, but it's clearly in history. That's the reason why the electoral college.
So we didn't have a North-South war.
Like, we had one, but it wasn't about. Some people say it was about money. It was about states' rights, all that crap. But they know it was about slavery. It's free money.
Thank you, Danny, man.
Okay, thank you, Bishop. Be good.
You too
man.
now. Kiss my sister.
Okay.
Kiss my sister for me.
All right, we'll do.
All right, talk to you.
All right,
Bye-bye.
be blessed.
How much time do we have?
About 6, 7
minutes? We good. You still have time to call today. 866-743-8267. I know the conversation has been a little dicey and a little controversial, but that's the kind of conversation you want to be a part of. So the census caused a little shift.
Yeah.
They say some of the weight has been shifted south. which some Republicans would be glad to hear that, but I don't know what the Democratic surge is happening. But shifting west is not a good thing for Republicans.
Yeah, because I think Washington State picked up some stuff.
Did California pick up some more?
I think did California lose? Let me look and see.
Because they had plenty anyway.
Yeah. But I know New York lost one Senate seat because for 89 people. And I guarantee you, a lot of those New Yorkers did not fill that census out.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
But then be the first ones complaining when something happens.
Absolutely. So like, I got to ask you this question, man. I need somebody to explain to me how Rudolph Giuliani went from the mayor responsible for the response to 9/11 to this guy that we're dealing with now. Well, how? I know the Bible says how the mighty have fallen. I get that. What happened with him?
Yeah, he but from what I understand, this may be limited, that he showed behaviors like this before, but 9/11 in the way he dealt with it, just he hinges his whole legacy on that.
Okay.
I mean, he did.
But he was a little erratic.
Before. He did a good thing by helping to clean up Times Square. Brought all that business in
and
there.
And he did a lot of mob prosecutions also.
Yeah. So he did some good work, but he's been a little clownish.
So he's been different. Okay.
But
brilliant, but different.
And then I think he started going out of the limelight once Obama and them kicked in.
Okay.
And the further you get away from 9/11, the less people talk about you.
Yeah. It's almost like he's trying to create his own favor.
Yeah.
It's not. And he had the favor of the nation. I believe at one point thank the Lord he didn't. At one point I thought he could have run seriously for president.
Yeah. After that whole thing.
Yeah.
And Michael Cohen, Trump's whole lawyer, tweeted after they did the raid. He's like, he basically's like, they coming. I guess they're coming after him, and they're going to look for little other people.
Yeah.
They're talking about Bill Barr now.
Well, they need to go after Barr.
Yeah.
They really do. They need to go after him. I don't know what happened to him either. They say this guy that we know over the last 4 years is not the guy everybody else knew. That's
what's concerning everybody. Yeah. I mean, like, what power does Trump have? Like, what?
It's not political. It's personal.
Okay.
I know you may have seen the panel where a couple guys that were really, really in his camp, they were asked the question, what is it? And they said it was a sense of belonging, a sense of worth, and being able to walk into a place with him and get some attention like they'd never gotten before. And the next question was, and that was worth you compromising yourself? And the guy said at the moment, I think the Anthony Scaramucci. Yeah. He said at the moment it was.
Okay. So he plays on people's insecurities.
Well, he understands that people want, and then not knowing that he's probably more insecure than anybody else.
Absolutely.
His reputation in New Jersey, especially in Atlantic City, was absolutely horrible for the amounts of people that were purportedly put out of business and people that lost their homes and because he wouldn't pay anybody.
Yeah, and that's true. And I will give Trump one thing: he knows how to paint an image of himself.
Yeah.
And the hip hop guys, he was big in hip hop before he became president. He was in their rap lyrics. He was the gold standard of what people hope life would be.
I just found it strange that what people were willing to ignore and what people justified that he said every day.
Yep.
That blew my mind. I saw someone who said yesterday that following those people that are hooked up in that vortex are wandering through a wilderness of mirrors. And I said, just seeing the same thing no matter which way they turn.
Yeah. Wow. And it makes sense because it's a certain group, a certain type that gather to him. And they find that hope in him, that confirmation in him, that mirror in him, until he turns on them like he turns on everybody
Well, yeah,
else.
he does. He does. It's a pattern. But the thing that people would ask the question also, why do people get caught up in these radical points of view. And I heard a guy say a couple of days ago, and it really impacted me, that what they're getting from that is a sense of importance.
Yep.
To believe that a system is plotting against them.
Yeah.
And for people who had felt like they had no importance at all, to get the sense that there's this half of America that's against me, is giving them significance. So when what we're looking at and seeing just craziness, they're finding comfort in it, because a lot of people are paying attention to me.
Which is crazy, which is interesting to me,
Mm-hmm.
because they 8 years of their life,
Mm-hmm.
they felt oppressed
Mhm.
hard,
Mhm.
and then got the nerve to say we're acting like victims after since
Wow.
we've been here.
Wow.
Y'all got radicalized, but then y'all want to get on the Black Panther movement, which really started off as a feeding program.
Yes, sir.
It wasn't about violence.
No.
It's about feeding people.
Yeah.
Y'all carry guns, we gonna carry guns.
Yep.
You shoot us, we gonna shoot you back.
That's right.
That's what they preach all the time. But I guess who determines?
It's different. Who determines what, Doc?
Yep.
This has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call and talk show in America, live every Saturday morning from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on any smart device at David G. Evans 1. Thank you for joining us today. Please tell someone about us. And thank you for all of our callers today. You kept us on the phone today, just about entire show. And I'm so glad that you are interested in us. Please join us next week. Tomorrow morning, of course, we've got our normal church services, 8 a.m., 9:45 to 10:45 is our live segment.
Yeah, the ladies doing that tomorrow.
The ladies are doing that tomorrow?
Women's Day tomorrow.
Okay, it's Women's. Oh, that's right. It's Women's Day tomorrow.
Yep.
11 a.m. service. So we've got a very special guest at 8 and 11. Shamika.
Shalita Fambi.
Shalita Fambi will be with us. Communion tomorrow night at 6. Man, we got a full day. Pick up your communion elements today, your bread and your wine today between 12 and 5, and tomorrow, Sunday, between 12 and 3. If you have a prayer request, email it to social@gotobethany.com. social@gotobethany.com. Subscribe to David G. Evans 1 and BBC of NJ. Subscribe to DJM's podcast and OnPointe podcast platforms. If faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. God bless you, and I'll see you next time.